I want to end on a positive note because we've talked a lot about the risks, so we talked a lot about the unknown. But I do want to end on a positive note. I'm a positive person, and I want to extract something positive from our discussion. Um, Tell me what excites you the most about this technology and where we are heading.
Um, so two things, right? I feel like, and this sounds very narcissist, but we feel like I at least believe that God made us an intelligent species for a reason, right? Um, Lucas, I wasn't born to be working at Google, right? I was born for a bigger purpose. But the fact that I have to eke out a livelihood, the fact that I'm trained to do a few things, um, in a lot of ways is limiting as much as it's liberating, right? If you think of how man has evolved, um, before for man to get creative and for arts to prosper, if you think of the Renaissance, right, all of that was made possible when man settled down, when agriculture was possible. You didn't have to gather food, you didn't have to go in search of food, right? Now imagine the possibilities if AI were to take away the mundane from you, if AI were to push you and to think beyond existential, if AI were to cure diseases which you wouldn't have thought possible. Imagine a society where living up to 150 or 200 years is absolutely possible with good exercise, regenerative, 3D printing. Like, there is so much possibility, right? And what I get a kick out of, Lucas, is maybe my kid will grow up to live 200 years. And it all of a sudden, like I am growing up, my whole life revolves around my daughter. And perhaps after she's done paying off her student loan, or after I'm done paying off her student loan, i'm I'm half dead, right? But then imagine my kid growing up. If she lives to 200 years, the whole concept is so exciting, right?
Mm.
Like, your whole life doesn't have to revolve around raising your kids. Imagine having candlelight dinners at 100 years, being romantic at 100 years, being young at 100 years, right?
Mm.
That is so mind boggling. That is so exciting, right? I want to end on this note of hope. I lost my father to Parkinson's, Lucas, and he spent
Sorry to
14
hear that.
years trapped in a body that didn't cooperate. I am waiting for a day where, and there isn't enough research money on these diseases, by the way, right? There was more money spent on COVID research than Parkinson's, which is or Alzheimer's, which probably has killed more people. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is, generative AI is all about possibilities. It's all about filling the gaps which we need to fill, but we don't have the bandwidth or the commercial incentive. And that is super, super exciting. You know, to be able to grow up to see that future, and I wish I was there. My prediction is by 2030 or 2040, we will see revolutionary healthcare, if we were to harvest this technology in the right way, right? And that intersection between infotech and biotech and 3D printing, it has amazing possibilities for the future. In
Mm.
fact, I don't want my job and doing 8-hour jobs. I would much rather write poems and AI do everything for her, right? And the analogy I paint for my kid is, think of Iron Man with that voice in the head that's guiding him all the time, right?
Jarvis.
Imagine Jarvis, right? Imagine Jarvis 4.0. which is personalized. Lucas, this is interesting. We're talking about a non personalized AI. Imagine
Yeah,
Alexa with AI completely personalized. All of a sudden, Lucas doesn't have to go book his own tickets. He doesn't have to do anything. AI is figuring it out and doing it all for you. All you then have to do is it will push you to think
yeah.
about philosophical questions, to think about nuanced questions. Um, anyways, as you can tell, I'm super excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a great way to end because it's one of the takeaways that I've starting to um, have as well. And like my thought process is leading towards that, which is if used properly, this technology will allow you to elevate from your current status and create space for thinking. Because right now, we're all strapped for resources. We all have to do a lot of mundane tasks that are repetitive. We hate. They're boring, and they're really something we have to do because it's part of our job. But what if you don't have to do those? And what if most of your time is spent on thinking, on ideating, on strategizing? Because it's currently missing. I've seen this time and time again. Directors, executives, founders, they don't have time to think because they have to deal with all the fires. So this technology, I think, can help us, but it needs to be used correctly, like you mentioned. There needs to be guardrails, and there needs to be an alignment of the system with a positive human intent.
Yep, absolutely. Lucas, on a last note, since I'm in Tokyo, right? Um, it's interesting. Over the last few years, as you know, Japan is an aging society, and the Japanese have experimented with robots as companions, which is fascinating, right? And these are humanoid robots. Now, imagine if you were to then have the power of AI in a human-like form. On the one side, society gets more lonely, but on the other side, if you're an aging society, you have an amazing companion who is completely personalized, who knows when you're going to get a heart attack, who is able to do things for you, which probably a human wouldn't. I think we're going to be very soon getting into that mode, especially for elder care, for people with disabilities. Like I mentioned, it's going to be extremely liberating. And I've seen this firsthand. Lucas, the best thing is the machine doesn't care whether you have a paunch, you're fat, you're thin, doesn't matter,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And,
yeah.
it
Arjun.
knows your brain enough to give you the right answers. So,
Yeah.
um,
All right. Well, here's to a future with companionship and blacklist prompts to keep us all safe. I really appreciate your time and your insights today, Arjun. I appreciated learning a little bit more about how is this the iPhone moment of our generation. We talked a bit about job displacement. We talked about some breakthrough R&D, specifically in healthcare, and how this can revolutionize human life. We talked about creativity and art, prompt engineering, the ethical considerations of the technology, as well as some of the prompt blacklisting. I learned a lot today. Thank you for your time. And I think this gives us a lot of food for thought.
thank you so much, Lucas. Thank you for having me. My pleasure, as always.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in, everyone who joined us, and we'll see you in the next one.